Welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch, episode 291.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
Two
crazy ketos.
And if you're new to our channel, welcome.
Yes, welcome. If you are new here, please say hi down below.
Now, here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics, and every Monday we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way every single time it is Monday morning, you'll be alerted to it.
Well, we're under the gun.
We're into plan B, C, D, E, F. I think we're somewhere around G. And we're hoping that this Monday morning is finding you less stressed out than we are right now.
So yeah, if you didn't know, we are right in the line for Hurricane Milton.
But you know what? God is faithful.
That's
and
right.
We have trusted him. And we will continue to. And, it's like in this time, we have the opportunity of trust, right? That it was so interesting that's the Two Crazy Ketos family focus for the month of October is the pursuit of more trust. And of course, I'm thinking about the trust in the process of losing weight and getting healthy. But like, this is really a moment of trust for us.
So welcome to Keto Beyond the Couch. If you are new here, Keto Beyond the Couch is all about our subscribers. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. We try to do it live as much as possible. And basically what we like to do is go over success stories, answer questions and comments from our social media that we found over the last week. If you're not a member of our Mighty Networks group, go join it. It's members.twocrazyketos.com. It's completely free. There are ways that you can support us. If you get a lot out of our channel, we greatly appreciate your support. Buy a t-shirt, join our Mighty Networks group, use the links down below. It really does help us run this channel. We really appreciate that. Now, if you're new here, the way we do this is we're going to go over our questions and comments from the last week. We don't really pay attention to the chat too much until the last 10 or 15 minutes of the stream. So if you have a question, hold off till then, or use the super chat function, which is a little $, because that highlights our window.
So I was talking to Michelle because yesterday, because it's like, it looks like it's going straight across. And John Paul was out putting in all kinds of, hooking up generators and things like that yesterday. And also I really appreciate them for talking about like generator safety was really important, because how you attach it, like making sure you're prepared. And so we were talking,
don't electrocute the lineman.
Exactly. We were talking about hurricane preparedness, and she was like, honestly, we just got a big order of keto brick in and we're good to go, because like Peyton recently had a cold, was not eating anything, and would only reach for keto brick. So Michelle was like, you know what? In that time, I'm really thankful that we have these shelf-stable foods like keto brick, like the carnivore bar, and like keto chow, surely.
Yeah.
Definitely. We also, when it comes to like, well, how am I going to have coffee? If you lose power, having keto brains makes it, all of these things possible.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, if you're new to the channel, we live in Central Florida in Arcadia. It's where the farm is where we're working on the house. We do have a house down in South Florida that we're going to be moving from, but the house that we're at that right now in our RV, where we're living in the RV on the property, is directly in the path. So what does that mean for us? So Keto Palooza is this week, and we were supposed to be leaving tomorrow. And unfortunately, the way my brain works, I would not be okay leaving tomorrow like we were planning with the RV, because we have to be in Elkhart, Indiana by next Monday. I would not be okay leaving the house for 2 weeks and not knowing what we're coming back to.
Right.
If we left tomorrow, we'd be ahead of the storm. We'd be ahead of Florida with the RV, and we would be fine. But I wouldn't know what happened to the house, and I can't handle that. So what we're doing is Rachel is going to drive to Louisville with Sarah G
And Alan.
and Alan tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we're going to leave bright and
I
early.
am staying back with the RV. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the RV back down to South Florida to our Fort Lauderdale house. I'm going to ride out the storm there
with the kids,
with the boys, and then I'm going to, on Thursday, hopefully, I'm going to leave, come back here at the property, check out the property, and then head up and hopefully make it to Keto Palooza.
Right.
It's hopefully because, if the storm slows down and it takes longer to cross the state, it's supposed to hit sometime on Wednesday, but it'll be over on the West Coast, on the East Coast sometime Thursday. So I'm hoping that I can get out of here. It adds about 3 hours to my drive, and I'm just going to do the best I can to drive this 16 hours with the RV and hopefully get there by Saturday.
And I'm really thankful to Sarah G and Alan for allowing me to hitch a ride with them. And yes, we could both just stay back and risk not going to Keto Palooza, but I truly believe that our presentation for Keto Palooza needs to be delivered. Like, I think that it's really important for us to be there, even if it's just me presenting and y'all are stuck with just one half of Two Crazy Ketos, because I believe in Keto Palooza. We believe in this conference, and I truly believe that we have something to share that's going to bless somebody.
This is the second time we're driving through a hurricane to get to Keto Palooza.
And so I think sometimes, like, if you're passionate about the message that you're bringing and you really are hoping and praying that you can be a blessing to others, like, I don't want to miss out. If there's one person who connects with our message and is blessed by what is presented, even if it's just with me, it's worth it for me to make that drive. It's worth it for us to make the sacrifice, because I believe in people. I believe in serving people. And so I'm going to be delivering some hugs this week at Keto Palooza. I hope Joe will be there as well. But no matter what, like, our combined love is going to be coming to the conference.
Yeah, so I'm hoping if I can get out of here Thursday, I probably would drive like 8 to 10 hours on Thursday and then get in sometime Friday. If I can't get out of here until late Thursday or Friday, I probably won't get there till Saturday. If something happens and I can't get there till Sunday, we just have to figure out a way to get Rachel to Indiana.
Yeah.
And I'll just head straight to Indiana, straight up to Elkhart, because she will be there, obviously, without a car. But that is the plan. So sorry that I may not be at Keto Palooza. I really want to be there, but
we're gonna do our best.
There's no way I can leave not knowing, because what happens if there's a problem with, if we lose roof shingles, I need to at least shore up things. I saw Reese said, like, it would be a shame for all of the work on the house that we've done.
We're hoping we don't lose anything.
We're hoping that we don't lose anything, because also keep us in prayer, because we don't have insurance. There's no homeowner's insurance on this house.
No, and there's no backup plan. This is literally all of our life savings. Like, every single thing is here as at that Coconut Creek house. And so we are praying for protection in the storm. And I hope that this season of our life helps to bless others, because in the midst of all of this, it would be really foolish if in the midst of all the stress, we added a foolish stress, which is stop our way of eating. I think a lot of times when you're nervous, there's so many things that are uncertain. It's a really busy season. It's a really hectic season. There's a lot of unanswered questions. And in that moment, we use that as an excuse to reach for inflammatory foods, to reach back to the things that we were really formerly a slave to, that bondage of those carbohydrates and that sugar addiction. And this is a moment of temptation, because you're just like, well, I can't control everything. And like, gosh, I'm trying so hard and I'm working so hard. And like, if things don't go my way, then I'm just going to hurt myself with sugar and like reaching back for those things that hurt me in my life. Do not do that.
Yep.
Do not do that thing. Whatever season that you're walking through right now, there's maybe things that you can't control, but you can control putting proper nutrition into your body and fueling yourself in a way that you will have a cloud-free, fog-free head so that you can make decisions on a dime like you need to.
So I saw John said, so is the storm heading? Yeah, the storm is heading pretty much
Right for us.
they're saying like right around Tampa. We're south of Tampa. We're about an hour south of Tampa. But if you know anything about the way hurricanes go, the winds stretch out. I don't worry about flooding the house. The property has a lot of water on it right
Already.
now. But the house is up on an elevated piece of property, and then it is elevated again because it's a manufactured home. So it's sitting on like concrete blocks, I think like 4 high. So I'm no concern about water getting in the house. I mean, but what we're gonna turn off all the electricity before we leave. And there's one tree I worry about. There's nothing I can do about it at this point.
Just hold that branch,
And then
Laura.
Dustin did say that he lives in Indiana, so if something worse came to worse, he can get you into Indiana.
Oh, thank you, Dustin.
Okay, so we're gonna get into Keto Beyond the Couch. We're gonna start off with our first comment. I found this from Gail.
Hey, Gail.
Gail said, this came up on my feed today. It made me want to cry. These parents think they're doing the best for their kids because they follow mainstream advice. Yes, our brains can run on glucose, but it is not the optimal fuel. Oh, if she only knew the damage she was doing to her children. This is for a honey company and their portable honey gels. And it says, wow, this mom is so smart. I never even thought of this. My kid plays basketball and these have been a game changer for him. He takes them to school to keep him focused. She's giving her kids the honey gels for school. Our brains run on glucose.
Wow. It's like we keep reiterating wrong information over and over again, and it just sounds like truth because there's no other way. I was speaking to somebody at Sarah had her beautiful wedding shower, our future daughter, so excited for that. November 1st, our son Anthony is getting married to his sweetheart and best friend Sarah, and at the wedding shower I was chatting with a friend who was talking about how like Gatorade is just always talked about because it always has
Marketing.
And so she was coaching a team this year and they were just concluding that coaching. And she was like, the difference between Salty, LMNT, Redmond Relight versus Gatorade, and how, you know, the parents and the kids are thinking like, well, I just drank that Gatorade and I feel stuff happening. She's like, you're feeling sugar happening.
Yeah, because Gatorade will actually dehydrate you more.
And so she's like, she has just recently discovered Salty and she's like, what a game changer. What a difference.
The problem is it's not parents' fault. Just like
No.
a lot of times we get mad at our doctors. It's not the doctor's fault. This is how they've been educated. It's up to us to politely educate people in a different way. And like a lot of times parents think they're doing the right thing.
Sure.
I mean, again, we were watching a TV show today and they were talking about, oh, well, we couldn't cook, so we had cereal. I mean, that's a healthy breakfast. No, not. I mean, you might as well just eat a jelly donut. And we were guilty of it too.
Absolutely.
You know, unfortunately, this is the propaganda that is pushed to us. And the thing is that once you know and you then continue to do it, that's a completely different story.
Right.
So I do want to give a shout out. This is not a political thing, but Megyn Kelly, who has a Sirius XM and she's got a YouTube channel, she did an interview yesterday, an hour-long show, all on the government's role in the nutrition that we're eating and how, like, because of the recommendations of and the way the pharmaceutical and the food companies are controlling everything and how that is causing so many problems in our children and in our society. So I highly recommend checking it out. You know, say what you want. I mean, she talks about right-wing things or left-wing things, but this particular episode was amazing, and I highly recommend checking it out. Let's move on to the next one. Is from Nicolette.
Hey, Nicolette.
She wants to know, do we prefer butter or heavy cream for keto chow creamies? I like butter.
Butter. Ooh.
Hold on. Go ahead.
We definitely think butter is best. It definitely tastes amazing. I think we have a neighbor that's like checking on us, which is awesome. Actually, we had a neighbor text us yesterday and say that they had a concrete structure that we could bring our RV over to and just like stay safe. So we really really appreciate all of the warm welcome that we've received here in Arcadia already. All right, so I'm just going to take a look at what you guys are talking about. Cindy says prayers for your safety and the safety of your property for sure. Love you both. Thank you so much. Like, we believe prayers make a difference. Like, that it's not like a useless exercise. So like, we're really thankful for all of your prayers and all of your thoughts towards us. Thank you. Sabrina said I could take her to Elkhart as well. We could all tag team in the north if we need to. Thank you guys so much for having my back and helping me to hopefully reunite with Joe safely.
So our neighbor is stuck.
Oh no.
And is asking if I can help him get out.
Absolutely.
So I told him I'll be over there in an hour. And then, but I thought it was interesting. He's a beekeeper. So he's offering me honey.
Oh, how sweet. We were just talking about. Not necessary, but thank you very much.
Okay, so next one we have is from Sherry.
Hey, Sherry.
So my husband is a type 2 diabetic on the keto diet, low carb, low sugar, and moderate protein. His ketone levels are around 100.
His CGM?
His CGM runs around 100 to 130. Should he worry about high ketones? Also, he's lost a lot of weight. Does not need to lose any more weight. Does he need to intermittent fast? Okay, so I don't know what the ketone levels are 100 unless you're using a different unit of measurement. Usually it's like 0.1 millimoles, 1.0 millimoles. If it's a 1, if it's maybe you forgot the dot, you're completely fine. That's a good, healthy ketone level. The people who really have to worry about what you're talking about with the really high ketone levels, like ketoacidosis, which is not ketosis. Ketoacidosis is when it gets really high, and when you really have to worry about it if you're a type 1 diabetic.
Right.
If you're not a type 1 diabetic, it's not something you really have to worry about. You really don't want to get ketones up to 8, 9, that kind of thing. And it's very, very hard to get there. So I would not be worried about the high ketone levels if you were trying to treat something like chronic brain injuries or Alzheimer's or things like that. You would want to try to be up around a 3. So if you're around a 1, you're great. So he's lost a lot of weight. He doesn't need to lose any more weight. Does he need to intermittent fast? No. If once you've hit your goal and if you don't want to lose any more weight, you just want to eat more. Now you don't want to go from eating, say, 150 grams of protein a day to 400 grams of protein a day overnight, or rather fat. Because you'll gain weight. You want to slowly increase. Now, if you want him to gain weight, then add more. But what you do is you slowly add a little bit more to your diet. It's called a reverse diet. If you're looking at calories, if you're eating 1,500 calories, you normally eat 2,500 calories. You don't want to go from 1,500 to 2,500 overnight. You want to slowly increase that over about 8 to 10 weeks. As far as intermittent fasting, if you're hungry, eat. If you're not hungry, don't eat. Intermittent fasting isn't necessarily about losing weight. It's just about not snacking.
Yeah. Well, recently in the Mighty Networks, and I think I actually posted it in our Facebook group as well. If you are looking for some recommendations on how to up your fat by just like 100 grams, where, like Joe is saying, don't go from, hey, I'm doing great, and when I want to not lose any more weight, go to 400 grams of protein extra. But I showed how you could simply get 100 extra grams of fat, like in a day. So just kind of like, it's very easy because, things like butter, a little dollop of butter, sour cream, those kind of things, a couple of almonds, it adds up quickly.
Yeah. Next one we have is from Cynthia.
Hey, Cynthia.
Sometimes Facebook memories are just the thing you need to realize how far you've come. I can't believe this used to be my breakfast. No wonder I was fat and sick. Now, I did not put the picture up, but it was basically a picture of like a Mountain Dew and some kind of high sugar snack.
It's so different. It's just so different. I was thinking about that, like we were talking about, like, because we had kind of like a breakfast brunch for Sarah. And just all of the like carby nonsense there is that are offerings, whether it's like bagels and muffins and like donuts and, even things that are called like, well, this is a healthy muffin or this is a healthy cookie. And you're like, there's just no nutrition here. There's just nothing. But that's what I reached for every single morning. I was going to go into my job. I was going to go into my day and even help my kids begin their day with really non-nutrition.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Next one is from Charlene.
Hey, Charlene.
I just found this out. The term resistant maltodextrin is another name for soluble corn fiber. On product labels, it may occasionally refer to as corn fiber or corn syrup. It is created from cornstarch using enzyme-based hydrolysis technique. It's in a lot of keto products. I don't think I want to put this in my body. I don't know why that light's not charging.
That's okay.
Okay, so actually it's the other way around. It's that soluble corn fiber there's a lot of different types of soluble corn fiber. So, there's good ones, there's bad ones, there's some that will raise your glucose, there's some that won't. The term soluble corn fiber now covers a lot of different products.
Right.
And a lot of different fibers. So resistant maltodextrin is one of those things. So it's the problem with when a company puts soluble corn fiber, you don't know which one it is. For example, you have IMO fiber, isomalto oligosaccharides. That actually can now be just called soluble corn fiber inside of a food label. So they're going to say soluble corn fiber, and you don't know that it's IMO fiber, or you don't know that it's resistant maltodextrin. So people have asked, what is the difference between maltodextrin and resistant maltodextrin? There is a difference. We've talked about it in previous videos, so I don't want to get long into it here, but it's the way your body processes it. We try to avoid all maltodextrin, but if you come across something that has a little bit of resistant maltodextrin, I don't think it's as bad. Most of the time where you're really worrying about maltodextrin is when they're using it like as a filler or a binding agent. For example, in Splenda, in Sweet and Low, in powdered stevia, most of the time they're binding it to dextrose and maltodextrin. And the problem is it is higher on the glycemic index than sugar.
Right.
And so what happens is even if you're not having a glucose spike, because it is marketed to diabetics, it is causing an insulin spike. And you cannot lose weight in the presence of insulin. So if you're drinking, say, black coffee with a packet of Splenda, powdered Splenda, or a packet of, what is the blue stuff? Equal, which is all got maltodextrin. You're thinking, oh, sugar-free, it doesn't impact my glucose. But it's causing you to have an insulin reaction, which means you can't lose weight. And if you're doing that 5 or 6 times in between meals,
you're tapping out of weight loss every time you're doing that.
Every time you have one of those, you're tapping out of weight loss.
That's pretty sobering.
Yeah. Next one is from Trish.
Hey, Trish.
Keto isn't just a diet, it's a lifestyle transformation. Your commitment today is your success tomorrow.
And that is, it is hard when we think about investments. Think about like any insurance that you get, or when you are deciding, I'm not going to spend my entire paycheck. I'm going to invest in tomorrow. I'm going to save some. I'm not just going to blow my whole paycheck. Your decisions that you're making right now, you're depositing a good choice in tomorrow's outcome. And I think that a lot of times when we were deep in carb addiction, I had a real YOLO mentality, as if today is the meal and this is my last meal, and I'm going to eat very chaotically, and I'm going to allow my cravings to just overtake me. I'm going to let my emotions win, and I'm just going to live like there is no tomorrow. But that is not the desire of my heart. I want there to be a tomorrow. I want to live tomorrow. And I don't want to have to recover from today or yesterday. So I think it's really important that we take every decision very seriously when it comes to nutrition, and not really allow time for arguing with making a good choice. When you look into that refrigerator and you spot immediately the best choice, take that best choice. Yeah. Don't allow yourself to argue yourself out of the best choice for your nutrition when you know the right thing to do.
Let's take a quick fade to black. and we will come back with some more.
Did we in fact come back? Looks like
So,
it.
I saw Crystal said there
Hi,
was
Crystal.
only one you. Isn't the house supposed to protect you, not you protecting a whole house?
Right.
You both to get the safety and go to the conference together. House can be fixed. Yeah, I'm not staying here in the house.
No.
I'm heading south.
Right.
To Coconut Creek, to Fort Lauderdale, where our children are. There's 2 children there. So I'm going there because the storm is heading east northeast. So I'm taking myself out of the danger of the storm by going to Fort Lauderdale, unless the storm turns south real quick, at which point I wouldn't head south. For me, it's peace of mind that after the storm passes, I want to know,
are the chickens okay?
we have chickens here. Is the house okay?
Yeah.
That's just because this is not a matter of, hey, we're in an evacuation, because our house is not in an evacuation zone. We have not been ordered to evacuate. That's north of us. But for me, if we were only going to be gone for 2 days, I'd be like, that's fine. But we're not. We're not going to be home for another 2 weeks because we have to go to Indiana for a week. So that is why I'm staying back. I really want to be at Keto Palooza, but I can tell you, if I just leave tomorrow and go to Keto Palooza, nobody's going to want to be around me.
You're going to have no peace.
Because my mind it's like when somebody calls you up and says, hey, I need to talk to you. Can we talk next week? No.
Yeah.
Like,
now
tell me for the next week. Like, just tell me now.
Right.
I'd rather you tell me now. Like, I never want to talk to you again. You're an idiot. But tell me now. Don't tell me I need to tell you in a week something super important.
I think that no matter how old your kids get, you never stop being dad mode or mom mode. And that's definitely like just making sure like all of the ducklings are okay. And like everything is fine. I think that's just like Joe dad mode.
Yeah, Mary said maybe the solution is simply avoid packaged foods, even keto packaged food as much as possible. We agree.
Sure.
I think that number one, you need to know your ingredient labels. Do the best you can to really know your ingredient labels. I believe that the best keto packaged products were developed by people who developed them for themselves. Some of the ones that Rachel mentioned, Keto Brains, Keto Brick.
You can check on the owners.
Bar, because Keto Chow, they bought them, they developed them for themselves. There's a big difference between that and some big company out there that is making stuff to market to people, and most of that is the stuff that you're finding in the store.
Well,
you just need to know your ingredient labels.
When you see, like, we buy a keto brick and we're eating it and we're giving it to our grandbaby and our children, and then you can look on, Robert Savage's site, like, and say, or Keto Savage on Instagram, and see he's giving it to his kid too. So it's like it's a whole different situation. Like, I think if we could have an eye into some of those like big food companies, they're
probably not eating what they're selling.
They're probably not eating what they're selling.
Well, and again, all the companies that I mentioned, if you look at the owners, they all tell you this is not a replacement for meat. Right? You talk about Chris and Miriam will flat out tell you Keto Chow is not designed for this to be your only source of nutrition. It's designed to fill in the gaps when you're really busy, you're on the way out the door. Instead of grabbing something bad or going to fast food, have a Keto Chow, but your diet should be mostly meat. You'll hear that from Chris. You'll hear it from Robert. You'll hear it from the owners of Carnivore Bar. They all eat a heavy meat diet and use this in certain occasions. Next one is from John.
Hey, John.
Major non-scale victory. I had a doctor's appointment today. My blood pressure was great. A1C 5.3, my lowest reading since starting keto. And they dropped another heart medication.
Wow.
I've also have the CAC scan scheduled for Wednesday. Can't wait to see what the results will be.
John, congratulations. That is so awesome. And talk about what a difference it is when we're saying things like, I cannot wait for my doctor's appointment and my lab results. Why is John excited to see his CAC score results? Because he knows he's put the good work in. He knows that he's making good choices, and there's going to be a good result at the end of this. We used to want to go into all of our doctor's appointments blindfolded. I mean, you were like, I don't want to see the results, because it was like you were bracing yourself for how bad is the news going to be, instead of like where John is, where it's like, tell me something good.
Next one is from Joyce.
Hey, Joyce.
Is canola oil acceptable on keto?
I would not eat it in a boat. I would not eat it with a goat.
Now, I put this as the thumbnail, and I also kind of, though it does have a question mark, it is a little clickbaity of a title that seed oils are keto friendly. Seed oils like canola oil, corn oil, grapeseed oil, peanut oil, all of these seed oils, they are keto friendly.
You will still lose weight if you're using them.
Seed oils do not impact your level of ketosis.
There you go.
They will not kick you out of ketosis. It is still a fat. With that being said, because someone's typing I'm a jerk.
You're not, though. I've met you.
Seed oils are keto friendly. However, they are not health friendly.
No.
Okay? So what do I mean? They won't kick you, consuming seed oils won't kick you out of ketosis. I lost over 100 pounds on keto consuming seed oils.
Right.
Will you have optimal health consuming seed oils?
No.
No. It's not a keto thing. It's a health thing. It's a diet thing. Nobody should be consuming seed oils no matter what their diet is. If they're eating the standard American diet, if they're eating paleo, if they're eating
Whole
vegan.
food. Yeah.
If they're eating vegan, well, plant-based whole food generally there's no added fat, but if they're eating vegan, seed oils are unhealthy. It's because of the way they're processed. I want you to think about this. We've all eaten corn, I'm sure, in the past. If you took corn and you squeeze it, does a bunch of fat come out of it?
No.
No. So then how are they getting fat from it? Okay? It's the way they're processing. They're applying a bunch of heat, and that's why they're highly susceptible to rancidity. As soon as it goes into your body, it starts breaking down. It causes tons of inflammation. This is something,
Joint
again,
pain.
that was talked about on Megyn Kelly's show yesterday. Seed oils are unhealthy, and my recommendation is to avoid them as much as you can. Sometimes you can't. If you eliminate 98% of the seed oils out of your body and out of your diet, you will have amazing health benefits, even if you weren't on keto. If you're never cooking with seed oils and you're not using seed oil mayonnaise like Hellmann's, and then you go to a restaurant and you have a little bit of salad dressing that has seed oil, you're most likely fine. I can tell you we do that because it's a very rare thing. But my recommendation is go through your cabinet and throw out anything with seed oil, and then go to everybody in your family, to your mothers, to your brothers, to your sisters, to your kids. Go through their cabinets and throw it out because it's garbage.
Can I add a little addendum to that? Because I like that you're serious about it, because what you're trying to do is help be a champion in the lives of the people you love. While you're throwing it out, make sure you have something good to replace it with. Don't just like trash their thing. If I get rid of their really...
Go buy them some coconut oil.
If I get rid of their really cheap vegetable oil, but replace it with salted butter, with ghee, with coconut oil, with duck fat, with beef tallow. Like, I don't just say like take their stuff and then have no explanation why you just trash their house. Like, come in and say, hey, I have a gift for you. This is going to be a better oil in your life.
I'm just throwing it out.
And throw it out, but bring a gift.
Next one is from Mel.
Hey, Mel.
I've heard Joe say on live streams that if you're not used to having Allulose, it can give you bathroom pyrotechnics for a while. How long should it take to get used to it? I've made a few things with it in the last month, so I'm not having it every day, but once or twice a week. I ran out of mine in April, so it's been about 4 or 5 months of not having it, and now I am again. It's not so much that if you're not used to it, it's if you consume a lot of it.
Right. So I could be using it every single day, but if I have something that's got like a cup of 2 or allulose, like, we're going to have bathroom pyrotechnics.
Yeah. So it's not like MCT oil where you have to get your body used to it. It's just consuming a lot of it. Just like consuming a lot of sugar will make you sick, give you a stomach ache, make you go crazy. Consuming a lot of allulose can, and when I mean a lot,
like you're making big batches of desserts
and eating it all,
and then eating them. And hey, maybe there's nobody out there that's made an entire batch of cookies, and then that became a test batch of cookies, and nobody got any of the cookies, and I made another batch for my family. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm the only one that's done that.
Lady Fritzer said seed oils have a 2 to 3 year half-life. It's very tedious to remove them from your cells. Yeah, they stay in your body forever.
Speaking of desserts, our daughter Michelle
Don't talk about this.
has come up with another cookie. Shared the recipe with us. Amazing.
We'll make a video.
Cannot wait to share that with you.
Next one's from Bill.
Hey, Bill.
Who says keto carnivore is too expensive? Standard American dieters still stuck in the food pyramid matrix. That's who. Keto carnivore breakfast. Total cost $6.50. I think that's Australian.
Yeah.
Ingredients: 200 grams, 7 ounces of fatty rump steak, and 2 eggs. McDonald's Big Breakfast value meal costs $13.95.
I'm telling you what, I mean, it really is cost effective to cancel all of the noise. The carbohydrate food, the Franken food that they're putting on store shelves, they are not free. It's so interesting to me why people are like, well, it's just too expensive to do that, like to eat keto and carnivore. And I'm like, have you looked at like cookies or breakfast cereals or like Kind bars or any of a potato chips, a bag of potato chips? Like, do not tell me that it is cheap to eat that way.
No,
I mean,
it's super expensive.
maybe if you're talking about like all I'm going to eat is yakisoba noodles and like the off-brand elbow macaroni, but is anybody thinking that there is any semblance of nutrition? No.
Well, we did.
I mean, well, we honestly didn't think it was nutrition. We just thought it was filling our bellies.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we thought when we would see like 4 dehydrated peas.
What we didn't understand is why we weren't losing weight.
Right. Because we were thinking we're not eating a lot of food, and that was notable. But it was like, there's no nutrition in that.
No.
I mean, just none.
Next one is from Jen.
Hey, Jen.
When making Fairlife yogurt, how much protein is lost by eliminating the whey? She's meaning the liquid whey. So if you haven't seen, we have a video on how to make your own yogurt. You take Fairlife milk, which is an ultra filtered milk, so it has 50% less sugar. You pour it in an Instapot with some yogurt culture. 10 hours later, you have yogurt. If you want to get it really low carb, you strain out the liquid whey. So you put it through a cheesecloth, a yogurt strainer,
A nut milk bag. Balls.
And then you get this liquid whey, and if you throw that out, you're throwing out a lot of carbs because there's a lot of sugar in liquid whey. So that's how you can end up with a yogurt that's like literally 1 gram of carbs per serving because you're using a 50% less sugar milk and then you're straining out all the whey. So how much protein are you losing? Roughly 2 grams per cup of whey that you throw out. There's not a lot of protein in liquid whey. So if you get that pure liquid whey, it's like 12 grams of carbohydrates per cup, but only 2 grams of protein. So don't save the liquid whey to get the protein because it's pretty much all sugar.
I will say that like the chickens enjoy it. So if you have a backyard chicken farm.
Next one is from Debbie.
Hey, Debbie.
Question: I've been drinking 3 salty a day and getting spasms, cramps in my calves during the last week. Need more? Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you have something underlying. Generally, if you're getting spasms and cramps in your calves during the day when you're actively doing something, you're probably low on potassium or sodium. So I would start by just salting more food and then go from there. If you're only getting them at night when you're sleeping, that's magnesium. But if you're drinking 3 salties a day, you're getting plenty of magnesium.
Yeah.
Next one is from Joyce.
Hi, Joyce.
Trying to decide if I should get an air fryer. Can you do a video on how it works and how to use it? We have a lot of videos on air fryers.
Yeah, we do. And the Tasty air fryer that we most recently have is a game changer, has a really small footprint in as far as counter space goes.
It's living on our stove.
It is living on our stove, which is hilarious because I am not using that Easy Bake Oven. I use the Tasty air fryer for literally everything. We have dehydrated bacon in it. We cook steaks in it, hamburger. It did phenomenal ribs, as you could see in yesterday's vlog that we released last night. It's got a lot of functions, and I think more and more companies are thinking that small appliances need to have more than a 1 note, and certainly the Tasty air fryer is doing it. If you use our link and the coupon code 2krazyketos, you're gonna save $30 on an already inexpensive unit.
Yeah, I highly recommend it. People ask me, what if it can only have 1 appliance in a kitchen? For me, it would probably be the Innova Precision Oven
Yeah.
because it does a lot of different things. But for the average person, I would say an air fryer.
Air fryer.
I absolutely, even with the Innova Precision Oven, I would never not have an air fryer. When we've had our air fryer break down, I've replaced it immediately. While we've been gone, Caleb ruined the basket on ours at home. I mean, it was like, okay, fine, buy a new air fryer because like you got it because you can do so many different things with an air fryer. Ask Shauna. You can even make hard-boiled eggs in an air fryer.
That's true. I did not actually tape myself doing it, but like I made boiled eggs in the tasty air fryer and it was great. And I love the easy cleanup because that's the thing. I mean, when I'm sitting there thinking about like, I have so much to clean up inside the house. We have so much to do. I feel like we're always in like cleanup mode. Even after the day's work, you're cleaning up your space. I want as little amount of cleaning as humanly possible when it comes to cleaning up after breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And the tasty air fryer makes that possible.
Yeah, Mary said, my oven died in between my air fryer, my Instant Pot, my sous vide, and smoker. I haven't even noticed.
Right.
Yeah, we never use our oven.
It. And
But here or at the house. We just don't, unless we're making a recipe video for the channel, we just don't use our oven.
I really rarely use it unless there's like, it's like I'm making a dessert.
Yeah.
Because there's so much you can do in the air fryer.
Next one's from Jonathan.
Hey, Jonathan.
Said, I got a Keto Brains on my last Keto Trust shipment. How do I add it to my coffee?
Oh, so it depends on if you got the big bag, there is a scoop that comes with it. If you got what looks like a little pouch, that's probably a 1 serving. So you're making your coffee and you're just adding it to your coffee the same way you would just add your creamer. I like to use a little zoop to like mix it really good. I find that it mixes better as a creamer than any of the past powdered creamers that I've ever used in my lifetime. You know, like when you think about, Coffee Mate or something like that, there was a powdered version you're used to. There's far less clumpage when it comes to Keto Brains. I like to use it as my first morning coffee. I feel like it really like starts my day off right, and makes me super alert. So if you have your last coffee of day, like later in the day, and you're like, I want to wind down, I don't want to be like ready for more work, I would save the Keto Brains to a coffee experience where you're not worried about like, not feeling like you want to go and get things done. Cause I do feel like I feel really purposeful when I drink it.
Next one's from the Sunbird.
Hey.
Do you add sweetener with coffee and Keto Brains?
Sometimes it depends. It's not necessary. There is like...
Depends on how you like your coffee.
A nice sweetness that just comes naturally with the Keto Brains. It's just got a nice flavor that's, light and bright. But if you're somebody that's like, would add a drop of sweetener to when you're making coffee with butter or coffee with heavy cream, then yeah, you're probably going to be somebody that likes it on the sweeter side when you're using Keto Brains as well.
Carrie said that you said balls.
Balls. That was for Matt Franklin.
Oh, well, Sean said do some push-ups, Matt. Next one is from Visual Keto.
Hey, Visual Keto.
You are doing the right thing because you know what is inside all of your walls regarding our house.
Oh, thank you.
Except for the ceiling. I would have to rip it down. I've been there. Did that 30 plus years ago with phenomenal bonding with my late husband. If you can get through a whole house rehab or 1 room of wallpaper,
amen,
with your spouse and you still love each other, it is a definite that you are meant to be together forever.
Joe, do you still love me so far?
Yes.
So far, so good.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. So yeah, I find that too. I am really thankful for the journey that we've been on together, and I can see like how we've been so blessed, and one situation like feeds into the next, opportunity. We had no idea in January when we were taping RV Unplugged season 2 and participating in that reality show and really feeling like, my goodness, we need to be really intentional and be careful with each other's feelings and really just keep in mind all the time that we're doing this show that we are a team and we need to edify one another. Like, I need to be the voice in Joe's head that he knows. When I think of Rachel, I think of somebody that is encouraging me and really wanting to be a helpmate in my life and vice versa. And so it was just interesting. We built some muscles earlier in this year, not knowing we would have this property that we're using all of that was deposited now.
Yeah, it really just comes down to the fact that, yeah, there's communication things, and you're going to have to really work on it with the house. We have begun, while Rachel was gone, I began the fixing things, putting new stuff in. So Caleb's bathroom is 50% done. I got the bathtub in, and I tiled the floor. So I've started putting up the wall that we tore down. By the time when we get home, within a couple of days, we will at least have a working bathroom. I
Look
got
at
really
us.
frustrated. I drove all the way to Tile and Decor in Sarasota, which is like
Yes.
in Brandon, to get tile. Bought 6 boxes. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go halfway up the wall. Coming back, there's this giant divot across the entire road of University, which is a major, like, 4-lane road on each side. I get back to the house, every tile's broken.
So,
I was like, what a waste of an hour and 10 minute in each direction drive and $150.
and he was so upset. He was calling me, telling me. So I thought that was a good opportunity in our relationship, because when Joe called, like, he was so upset and really almost like apologetic. Like, I'm really sorry that I wasted the extra time to go further, hoping to save money. And then the money we spent winds up not being a savings. It winds up like that's just a total loss. And I just thought, in this moment, there's just nothing this man can do. And he's doing his best, and I see his heart for trying to do what's best for the family finances. And he was really frustrated, and I thought, I'm not going to say something foolish like, well, why did you go down that way? Or like, oh my gosh, you must feel really silly and stuff. I really wanted you to hear me say, like, it is okay. You're doing your best, and don't let that ruin the rest of your day.
Last one we have is from Billy.
Hi, Billy.
Does your dog know she might have to share her pond with an alligator? How far from a main body of water would an alligator need to travel to move in with you? So here's the thing in Florida, like any of the major lakes are gonna have alligators.
Certainly.
We're a couple of miles from Peace River. That's pretty much the biggest body of water. So we're a couple of miles in a direct line from Peace River. But like we said, one of our neighbors has a pet alligator, which the one person we were talking to, now he's a little bit over, he did escape into his pond. If we had an alligator at this point, we would have seen it. We're out at that pond every day. They come out, they sun themselves on the banks. We would have seen it. But here's the thing, most Floridians just go swimming with alligators.
They really just...
I don't worry about alligators, I worry about crocodiles.
They really just don't want to be bothered with us.
They're afraid of you.
Well, and
unless you feed them.
They can't chew. They cannot chew. And they're not going to be able to swallow me whole.
Most alligators would not go after Tabitha.
No, they're not going to bother. They're going to go after a little chihuahua because they feel like, even if...
Especially when it would be in here, because it would be a baby one.
They're thinking that, it would be a small alligator for us to not see it already. But like, they want an easy meal. Even if they like take a live prey, most of the time they go and like force it under a piece of wood or something. They want it to be rotten.
Yeah. Well, alligators generally only attack what they think they can swallow whole.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're standing up at the bank, most of the time they won't attack you, unless you're bothering them. If you go in the water and only your head is above water, and they're on the surface, they think they can swallow you whole, so they may come after you.
Yeah.
But Tabitha's been going in lakes and ponds and... like I go diving in lakes. It's just something that Floridians deal with.
She's a big girl. I find that we're a little bit more careful with a dog Jenny size, because she's like a little tiny gazelle. So our grand puppy Jenny is a Gordon setter, a female one, smaller, more in like the medium to small range. She's kind of thin. They're just athletes, and so we're a little bit more careful with her.
Okay, so let's get into some comments. Scott said Hurricane Milton was upgraded to a Category 4. Yeah, they're saying it's going to actually weaken before it comes on shore.
That's our prayer. For everybody involved, not just us, because I don't want it to come across like, oh my goodness, I really hope that this hurricane just changes direction and becomes a nightmare for somebody else. No, we want it to slow down and go away.
No, we want it to speed up.
No, well, I mean, we want it to dissipate.
Yeah.
We want it to go away.
The faster they go, the less they can intensify.
Yeah.
So John said, speaking of marital stress, have you replaced the carport? No, not yet. So we did. So so Harbor Freight said they will replace it. But
Yeah.
we've been so busy and we've had so much rain, it's still demolished over there.
We're just letting it
And
be over top of
right
things.
now, it is covering my rack tack. What else is it covering? Oh, and it's covering my mud mixer, which is still in the box on the pallet. And then there's like so much, there's probably 50 gallons of water in the middle, kind of weighing it down. So I decided I'm going to leave it
Yeah.
because it can't go anywhere right now from the storm. And then we're not going to put it up until like probably like by the time we get back in November, we'll be able to put it up because
we're
that's
done
past storm
hurricane season.
You know, and then we also have a couple of gazebos that we're just waiting on. Risa said, have you made the Dr. Davis yogurt from Supergut? I make it in my Pro Instant Pot and my machine isn't working now. Can't set temperature in older machines and I want to make more. No, I've never made that.
I see.
John said no crocs in Florida, only gators and giant. No, we have crocodiles. So
we do.
Actually, so crocodiles are generally in the brackish water. Like if you go to the Keys, there's crocodiles in the Keys.
Yeah.
There have been crocodiles spotted off the coast of Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
Underneath the fishing pier.
Well, my mom, the one time that
we do have crocodiles.
She had gotten herself a brand new beach chair to take to the beach and was going over to Deerfield Beach, not far from us, and there was a crocodile that day. And she was like, of course, when I finally got my chair and, you know, orchestrated my journey to sit on the beach today, there's a crocodile.
Selin said, question about the neighbor that asked maybe he can give you some beeswax for candles.
Sure,
Yes.
absolutely. That'd be lovely.
JJ, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. Said can't wait to see y'all at Ketopalooza so I can get my birthday song in person. Love you guys. Stay safe and much prayers to y'all. JJ, in case you missed it earlier, I don't know if you came in late. So Rachel will definitely be there. I'm 50-50 because I'm going to stay behind and weather out the storm in Fort Lauderdale and then stop and check on the house on the way out. Barb said, I just thought of this, be careful of wildlife that may be displaced with the coming storm.
Always a concern. That, I mean, even just like being vigilant with like, you know, mosquitoes and stuff, because you get a lot of standing water. And so that's just a mosquito calling.
Where you really have to worry about alligators in Florida is the spring before rainy season. So generally, this is not our rainy season.
No.
I mean, it is the very end of hurricane season, but generally by this time we're not getting a lot of rain unless there's a storm. But generally, historically, November, December, January, February, March, April is our very dry season. It hardly ever rains. And so in like April, May, when it becomes breeding season for alligators and they don't have a lot of water, they go on the hunt and they've been known to climb fences and go in people's pools.
Because they're ready for mating season.
Yeah. Me too.
I mean, the crazy things that these dudes will do during mating season.
Mary said, when I think of you two putting that farm together, I think of you having the time of your lives.
Ah.
Can't imagine it would test your marriage. It would only make it even better if that's possible.
Thank you, Mary T. I think that
it's when you disagree on things.
Right. I think that what has been a super blessing is in this time we've learned more than ever, and we've already like started believing that way, is there's so much more to life than the things. We have always been so poor that we took on a poverty mentality that really was like, clutter was a sign that you're not going under. Like having stuff, even if it's like you're not managing it well, is still like that's so important, because like, you know, it's just like a test of, hey, we must be doing okay because we have all of, you know, this stuff, even if it's stuff that you don't need and things that you need to discard. So, you know, we've had to be like the bare minimum in the RV. We can't, you know, you can't have stuff in the house right now, and we're doing fine without knickknacks and like all kinds of like collections of things. And so I think that that's just been a constant
If it
lesson.
wasn't for the fact that we try to run our YouTube channel and we have all of this gear here, it would be great. But it's just like, I don't want to have to put it away all the time.
But it's like, that's the priority, and it's just really easy to let a lot of things go.
So Lisa wants to know, what about nut oils? So nut oils are one of those kind of iffy ones. So I don't, in my opinion, like peanut oil is not as bad as other seed oils, but it's also you have to find out how they made it, you know, and that's most of the cheap commercial peanut oils are going to be just as bad because they make it with high heat. Things like
Right.
macadamia nut oils, it's good for flavoring, but I wouldn't be just doing a lot of cooking in it. It's if you looked, it's less bad than seed oils. Does that sound good? Like
Yeah.
if we go out and we're looking for wings and we're not going to Buffalo Wild Wings, like for us, Buffalo Wild Wings is 45 minutes from where we're at. So we're going to go to Beef O'Brady's or something like that. I try to find a place that will at least cook the wings in peanut oil instead of like a canola oil or soybean oil or something like
But
that.
we no longer do what we used to do, which is like fry the Thanksgiving turkey in peanut oil. Like, remember that was like a thing.
Yep.
And, we had our Master Belt, big, giant oil fryer. And we don't do that anymore.
Yep.
And honestly, the turkey that we've cooked in the Innova oven like kicks that other turkey's butt, and I didn't think it would. I didn't think that it would taste better than having it fried.
Mary said, "I have so many friends who insist they eat healthy, yet they eat in restaurants 12 times literally a week and can't figure out why they're so inflamed. How do you stop them?" You don't.
Well, I think that it is important to note that, like, do you know what you're eating? If they're eating a lot of like appetizer food and things that don't have like whole ingredients to them, if they're gonna go to like a diner and they're gonna get a salad, and you could tell them bring a salad dressing with you, nobody cares about that anymore. There's a lot of times that we'll go out and I will see other people bringing in salad dressing, whether they're keto or not. So I don't think that people are upset with you if you bring in like a salad dressing or you bring your own ketchup. I mean, my goodness, we brought ketchup and horseradish with us on the cruise thanks to Chris Bear,
Yeah.
so that we could have shrimp cocktail with like a cocktail sauce that we were eating. So just don't, I feel like that is the first thing you could do is eat whole
when
food.
she says, "How do you stop them from doing that?" I don't think you really can, but something interesting. So in that Megyn Kelly interview yesterday, one of the guests was an 18-year-old.
Okay.
And she's like this staunch advocate, travels the country, talks about, like, she's still in college, talks about like eating whole foods. And so Megyn Kelly was asking, "Well, what do you do about Halloween?"
Mm.
Right? And so she's like, "You're 18."
Right.
So and she's like, "Well, I obviously am too old for Halloween now to trick or treat, but I take my nieces, and what I do is like when my nieces and my nephews start like looking at candy, I ask them, okay, so what is in that Kit Kat?"
Mm.
And then they don't even know. And she's like, "I'll pick up a rock and say, what is in this?" "I don't know." "So would you eat it?" So she just gets them to think like, if you don't know what's in the food, think twice about eating it.
Well, and I think that that's the dialogue.
And that's how she educates people.
And I think that that's really wise. And I think that it begins with conversations, like Mary saying like, "Well, what do I do?" I think that you can start helping them to grasp, like, if you don't feel good the next day, it probably has less to do with the hamburger patty that you bought at that restaurant and more to do with the toppings that you have no idea what was on it, whether it was like the dressings that they're putting on top of it, or if you're getting things that are fried and like appetizer like food and you just don't know what the components of that is.
Well, and even the problem, one of the things they were talking about was like glyphosates, and that it's being found in everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's found in everything. Like they're literally finding it in oatmeal, they're finding it in cereals, they're finding it in bread because the wheat's exposed to it. Because if you don't know what it is, it's basically made, by the manufacturers of Roundup. And the whole idea is that Monsanto makes the GMO seeds. So corn, soy, things that our country is known for producing. So they made them more pest resistant, or pest resistant, but then they still need to spray for pests and weeds. So in genetically modifying them, they've made it resistant to the weed killer Roundup, glyphosate, and that is now showing up in our food.
That's scary.
And it is causing major health. Like glyphosate has been linked to so many health issues. And one of the things that is interesting not I haven't even just seen it there, but in a lot of talking to a lot of other people, even Mike Muscle's talking about it. When you go to Europe, a lot of the things that will make you sick here, even eating like maybe sourdough bread, it will make you sick here. But if, and I mean on a ketogenic diet, but if you went to Europe, it
Different.
doesn't affect you as much. And that is because most of the chemicals that are allowed in our food here
Are
in the United States
banned.
are banned in Europe.
Yeah.
And that is where the role of big pharma and big food is coming to play in our kids' health.
Well, because you're seeing like in other places, and it's right. Again, it takes a dialogue where you
Like the pasta here is different than the pasta in Europe.
well, so you'll see that and you're thinking like, well, did we somehow miss it? Because I see people in France, I see people in Italy that do not have the same health journey eating what they're eating. And I feel like here in America, I'm eating a similar meal. My plate looks the same because I'm seeing, maybe they would put out on a cooking show a certain meal. And then I'm, trying to duplicate that here. And why am I having a different situation? It is not the whole food aspects of it. It is, like you're saying, the banned substances, the chemicals that are added to the foods here that are not allowed in there.
And that's why we're starting a farm, because then we can eat food that I know I've raised and that my sheep are only eating grass from me. And so Diane said, type 2 diabetic male, no longer on insulin, wants to stay carnivore but lost weight and needs to gain. Eat more.
Yeah.
Eat more fatty meat, add more fat to your diet, butter, just eat more. That's how you gain weight on keto. You can absolutely gain weight on keto. Don't be intermittent fasting. And I would eat 3 meals a day. I'd still avoid snacking because again, especially if you are a type 2 diabetic, you don't want to have that insulin reaction every time you eat. If you eat one nut in between meal, you're having an insulin reaction. But I would you eat more. MB Davis said, I went to my first Buc-ee's yesterday. The brisket is wonderful.
I'm so glad you enjoyed that.
Jeannie said early in the chat, someone mentioned that it's their birthday and wanted Joe and Rachel to sing to them. I don't remember who it is. You might want to post your request again.
Oh yeah, let me see who's
we'll do that before we get off.
Who's the birthday?
Yeah, Mary said GMO wheat is not allowed in Italy. It's a huge difference. Yeah, so like they're finding glyphosates in pasta. Why? Because it's showing up in the wheat, and then the pasta is made with the wheat. But if you go to Italy, it's not in the pasta there.
So this is just another reminder that we have to be our own health advocate. Don't just throw our hands up and be like, well, I guess I'm just getting poisoned. You can eliminate, you do not have to have these poisons in your life if you are selecting whole ingredients and you're cooking things yourself and you're being diligent with things like that. Like we can avoid things. We're starting to like shop local. There may be somebody around you that's like selling meat, that's selling eggs, that's selling vegetables. Like find out. I mean, you're gonna have a fun day going to like a farmer's market or something like that, but at the same time, you're each step you take to be more proactive about what you're putting in your mouth is an investment in your future.
Okay, I found it. It's from Andrea.
Hey,
Andrea said tomorrow's my birthday. Can you sing to me?
Absolutely.
Hopefully we miss in a hurricane. And also Terry.
Oh, awesome. You ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Andrea and Terry.
And Gina.
And Gina. Happy birthday to you and many more, so many more.
Well, Gina's birthday is on Thursday, so make sure you join us for our live stream.
Hopefully.
Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're just going to have to see how it goes, where I'm at, if we can in any way join forces and like kind of from 2 different locations. We'll see what we can do, but guys, thank you so much. Thank you for your prayers, protection over our property. Rachel will see everybody at Keto Palooza on Friday.
I cannot wait.
And hopefully I will get there Friday or Saturday. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.
We love you guys.